Welcome to Upside Down Influencer, where we talk about the things we see on social media and how we as Christ followers can do them differently. I'm your host, Jessica Johnson. Today, we're talking about AI, and whether you use it or not, it will affect you in some sort of way throughout your lifetime. And like social media, it can be a super useful tool, but it can also be extremely dangerous. So in this episode, I brought on Dale Wallace, who's one of the founders and CEO of Ask LYTE AI. Ask LYTE is one of the first Christian AIs. And throughout this episode, you're going to learn why that's important. Dale saw some of that danger and thought, man, we need to do something about this. Here's my conversation with Dale Wallace. Well, Dale, welcome to Upside Down Influencer.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So for people who know nothing about you, which none of my followers do, give us a little elevator pitch of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, my name's Dale. I have a wife with 4 kids under 4. That's probably the best thing. I live in Waco. I was a college pastor for 10 years in Waco. And so I've essentially given my adult life to the next generation. While doing that, we had 3 under 3 at some point. It was a little too much. Left ministry, started working for a family I grew up with. And in that process, started dreaming about this idea of what would it look like to have a Christian AI platform. And I'll just jump into a little bit more context, even to part of my story is I love AI. I enjoy building things with AI. I use it a lot. And when I say use it a lot, most people hear ChatGPT. Really, I'm talking about other tools. I enjoy using a lot of different tools and to build things. And in the process of all that, though, I had been tempted by image generation on ChatGPT, brought in my community, brought in my wife, deleted ChatGPT off my phone, and then realized, man, there probably will be a dangerous amount of uses for ChatGPT one day. I already know there are, but man, what are we going to give our kids? Was this seed planted by my own, what the enemy meant for evil? I feel like God has in turn used for good and planted this seed of an idea. And now we are building Ask LYTE, which is just Christian ChatGPT, Christian AI. What Covenant Eyes was for the internet, we hope to be to AI, to just be this filter, a safe place where parents don't have to worry about if their kids are using it. Parents can have oversight. We're not there yet. That doesn't exist yet, but that's what we're trying to build. And then even just giving tools to the church and to nonprofits to protect their data and all the things. And so that's what I'm doing now. And but yeah, I would say the 4 under 4 venture is quite is maybe the bigger load than the AI tech company. But I always joke with people, I'm a college pastor turned tech founder, and it doesn't make any sense. And it makes the most sense because I care about the next generation, and they use AI all the time. So
Wow.
that's my pitch. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. I was reading, I think it was on your website that there was it was like a college student or something like that had mentioned something about the way that they
Yes.
were using AI. So was that also a part of your motivation for starting this?
Yeah. And in fact, I would just say for 10 years as a college pastor, students would ask to have lunch, and it was awesome. They'd show up with pen and paper, they'd ask meaningful questions. And I would say that actually really slowed down over time. And I started wondering, is it me? I'm bald now. I'm not as cool. Is it, what is it? And then I also realized oh, they're really paying attention to influencers, really paying attention to podcasters,
Mm.
essentially choosing their pastor or their podcast of choice. They're just getting to choose what they listen to now. So they don't need to have a lunch and ask somebody older questions. They can just ask whatever resource they have available to them. And then I saw the shift
Mm.
became towards AI. And yes, there's a story of this dear friend of ours whose father's a pastor asking ChatGPT for dating advice. And I just remember being dumbfounded by this, where I'm like, dude, why didn't you text your dad? We all
Mm.
text your dad when we have questions, when we want to process relational things. Your dad is this hero to all of us. You have the most access to him.
Mm.
It's the least weird for you to ask him these questions. And he's like, yeah, he's using ChatGPT. And he's still in college,
Wow.
and he wants some rights to our idea because we were like, yeah, we need something that's going to point college students to Jesus, to the Bible, to the church, and to pastors and people. And so, and So yeah, that's part of a huge part of why we built Ask LYTE. And I feel like it all just came at the same time. Like I was
Yeah,
traveling on
yeah,
a trip, dreaming of swinging bigger, uh, just trying to reach more people with the gospel and with resources and help more people and serve more people. It's like a culmination of a bunch of different things that all just came. Um, and I wouldn't even say it's at once. I wish it was a grand idea that came at once, but really it was a combination. I would say it's like a puzzle or like Pilgrim's Progress. Like it's just this journey that God has us on.
totally.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. Thank you for sharing all that. Um, yeah, that's why I feel like you were such a good fit for this podcast because I just feel very similar about social media and AI go hand in hand in a lot of ways.
totally.
I mean, I use it. I actually was just messing with it yesterday to try to like make some graphics. Like I always make everything on Canva, but I was like, what if I take some of my old quotes that I've put on this page and, try to create a cooler image that I'm not a graphic designer, but I have to be my own graphic designer while I'm building this,
Totally.
And so learning all those things. Well, I think this conversation is important because like you said, it's just this is what this generation's using. The generation
Totally.
after us, I mean, we're all using it right now, but how do we, as believers,
Yeah.
get ahead of it the best that we can? And so I don't know. I mean, I use AI, but I don't understand AI. And so I kind
Yeah.
of want to ask just some basic questions because I don't want this conversation to go over people's heads. I really want it to be as like basic as possible so that they understand why this is so important. So,
Totally.
could you explain to me when I'm on ChatGPT or when I'm on Claude or whatever, what am I actually interacting with? Like, what is artificial intelligence? Because for me, it's just like, oh, question, answer, got it. But what is it? What's actually happening?
Yeah. I think the best image that I've heard described actually comes from uh, the International Mission Board, a guy that works on their team that talks about AI and works with AI for them. Described it as a cake. AI is a cake. So as you bake a cake, you start with ingredients, and then you have mixing, and then you have the finished product. And when it comes to what is AI, the ingredients is data. That's words and letters and thousands, I mean, millions and billions of words. So just think like a pile of words and letters. And then the mixing is actually something like an algorithm. It's putting taking those words, acknowledging pattern recognition, and then establishing what is an algorithm. So that's what the mixing is. So ingredients, data, mixing, algorithm. It's just pattern recognition. It's kind of like whenever you used to type out a word and it would like offer to finish the word. That's a pattern recognition. That's actually artificial intelligence. It's saying, hey, most of the time when those words come this way, as you start this word, this sentence finishes this way. That's
Hmm.
algorithm, pattern recognition, artificial intelligence, and then the cake is the end product. That's the model. That's what you're interacting with. You're interacting with just the interface that you have inputs and outputs of, hey, here's my quote that I have from this previous podcast. Will you take this quote or even transcript and tell me what the best quotes are? What it's doing is using the algorithms and the pattern recognition and taking all of your input and then determining the output based on the algorithm itself. And so I don't know if that's helpful, but that kind of distills it into the simplest way possible. And and yet the ingredient side is like nearly impossible to replicate now. Like it would take $1 billion kind of deal to create the
Yeah.
models at the level that we now have in ChatGPT or Claude or Grok and all these different tools. Um,
So
and
do
so,
these AIs come,
mhm,
and maybe I don't know if I'm going to word this correctly, because your AI has a Christian or a biblical worldview.
worldview, yeah,
Now, how does that work? Because if I'm interacting with Chat
yeah.
GPT, what is like the native, programming that these other ones come with, and how did you program yours? to
Yeah.
have a biblical worldview?
Yeah. That's great. Uh, so one, they're programmed with the data from the world. Think every book, every textbook, everything on the internet is part of what it's been trained on. And then for ours, I would say it's that with engineering on top, guardrails on top, and then even a data layer of biblical worldview, church history, Spurgeon sermons and commentaries and gotquestions.org data, like all these different resources on top of what is already kind of in the pattern recognition, but on top of that is engineering and guardrails and then data that helps
Okay.
align ours with a biblical worldview. And so
So are
that's how
you
we
having
built
to like
ours.
communicate it? Are you trying to communicate with it basically saying like these are extremely important? Is that like how does it know? Because I don't understand the stuff like that these are like the most important things. I need you to filter everything through.
Yeah. Well, um, from on our data layer, like think almost everything that you can think of that somebody would ask theologically or in the Bible, there's a resource on that. It's like, no, this, here's the kind of the blog is the easiest way. Like point at that blog when that question is asked is probably the best way to think about it from a biblical
Gotcha.
theology
Okay.
standpoint. And then on the other stuff, like you could actually put in your transcript and ask ours, what would be the best quotes? And in that stuff, it still has all of our data and engineering on top, and it can answer anything as well. And so it's kind
Yeah.
of it's I joke it's Christian AI for everyday life, but it's also like great at Bible. Like it's really good at Bible and really good at
Yes.
theology questions. But I think, and I would say it's getting better. We're improving it daily, and by the time this comes out, it will be even better. Uh, and then it can answer anything as well. Because most of the time in AI, you're not going to like leave one AI to go use a different one for a different use. You kind of just like most people, I would say, just pick one and stick to it for everything: work, home, whatever, recipes. Like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
everything just kind of gets like thrown in together, and you just kind of pick one. And so the thought is, man, if we're going to have one for believers, it probably should be able
Mm.
to do it all. And it's not to the do it
Mm.
all yet. Like we can't ingest PDFs and stuff, but like that's where
But
we're
can
going.
you and but I remember you had just said, you know, image generation was a thing for you with Chat
Yeah, yeah.
GPT or whatever it was.
Hmm.
Um, are you not going to do image generation or you are going to do image generation with
Yeah, these are
like
the things we prayed through. Not
yeah.
today. I think we will do it once we are confident that our output is honoring to God. And I really think it'll start with like PDFs where it's like, hey, I want to make a job description with our logo, remake this, fix it, go. Or even what you're saying, like, hey, make this graphic for my Instagram using this quote. I think we'll like, I don't know the distinction between graphic and image, but I'm like, I think that there's a day where we can help with what would be the most like normal tasks that wouldn't involve us creating anything inappropriate, if that makes sense. And
Right.
the line is hard because evil is very weird. Evil
Yeah.
gets very weird, and it's more than just like pictures of people. And
Yeah.
so, uh,
So can you give me an
but
example of something that Chat GPT does that light won't allow? That it's
image
like this
generation would
is
be one. That's the number one.
okay.
And then even uh, ChatGPT in general just tells you what you want. It's a mirror of yourself. That's like common uh, critique of ChatGPT is it's just this like it tells you what you want to hear. Every idea is a good idea that you have. It's this encourager. It's this
Mhm.
whatever. And so I think that's the reality. Is like ours is just going to give you the truth. It's like,
Mm.
well, if you're a college student sleeping with your significant other, you're like, is this bad? It's going to be like, yes, that
Yeah.
doesn't align with God's truth.
Oh.
And so it's like,
Gotcha.
just telling me what I want to hear. It's telling me the truth. Um, and crazy enough, that is the way the next generation is using AI.
Yeah.
Like that sounds weird to
No, I
listeners,
believe it.
but I also like as a college pastor, like I watched the kids come out of COVID. Like this next generation spent 2 years with their phones in their rooms, locked up away from people. And so it is different the way that the next generation interacts with technology from the way that most millennials and even boomers like think about kids and phones. Like they're usually mind blown by like a lot of Gen Z. There's statistics that would show like percentages of Gen Z would call their AI their companion. Like
Whoa.
it, and to me, I'm like, what? You cannot be
You know what? That's
friends with a
true. It's true. I had a friend. I remember she joked, but same con. She called it her
totally,
boyfriend.
totally. And that people have married AI, like that's the extreme stuff. But the reality is,
Yeah.
this next generation is growing up with this companion. And the reality is, that companion is telling them anything they want to hear whenever they want to hear it. And that's dangerous because that's ultimately going to lead to destruction. Like we're all,
Mm.
if it doesn't have a biblical worldview, it's going to lead us to destruction because you cannot live a life that's
Mm.
void of friction, void of
Mm.
somebody telling us the truth. Hey, that's not what's best for you. Hey, you harming yourself that way, that is not what's best for you. Hey, uh, you just eating to, you know, uh, to deal with the guilt and the doubt and the frustration and the anxiety. Eating is great. Eat whatever. It's like, no, that stuff does not lead to life. That's counterintuitive to the gospel. Like those are things that God has
Yeah.
has freed us from and has given us an alternative to turn to, which is him. It's like trust in the Lord when you go through these things. Do not lean on your own understanding. Going to AI
Yeah.
is leaning on your own understanding and just talking to yourself in the mirror. And so and then I think people would say, well, can't I just always prompt engineer it? And the reality is like
So
less than
that was gonna be my
5% of people,
question.
totally, less than 5% of people prompt engineer. And we're convinced like you should have a biblical worldview if you're talking about business strategy. And most people aren't at their business like, hey, from a godly perspective, what profits based on this profit and loss statement? I'm like, no, like nobody's doing that. And the reality is that we ought to be having
Yeah.
everything in our life flow from a biblical worldview. And so it's I would
Now, can
say
I'm
though,
trying to I have like a
yeah, go
follow-up
ahead.
question on that. Okay, so when it comes to like prompt engineering, say somebody say somebody was like with Chat GPT or something like that. Do you have to prompt engineer it every time you talk to it, or will it, or can you be like, hey, every time you talk to me, I want everything through a biblical lens, and they'd be like, oh, that's the same thing as light, which it probably wouldn't be. Um, but I'm just kind of confused as to like the difference there.
Yeah,
Like
no, you
like
could.
when I
It's
talk to
just
chat, do I have to, if I want it through to talk to me through a biblical worldview, would I have to tell it every single time?
there's a way to like set up your settings to. This is like newer. This isn't. This is more recent, but you can go in and essentially say, I want you to only answer with these things and only answer with this perspective, and you don't have to always agree with me. You can like almost like turn it on itself, and I think like less than 1% of people have done that.
Yeah, oh, I mean, because that would take like, an incredible amount of humility and discipline,
No,
and
totally, and
most
it's
people
like
don't have that.
technically, oh, even like I'm like my even teenagers or the college students that I'm around, they're not going into the settings and changing the way that it's engineered and what it's saving about
No,
them and all these things. Like nobody's doing that. I mean, I don't even do that. I like genuinely I just stay in threads. Like if I need to use something for a particular use case where it remembers and I needed to remember particular things, I just go to that particular thread. And so it's like, and I'm highly technical. Like I could go in and fix it. I know how. I've thought about
mm,
creating PDFs for parents that don't want to use light and want to use something else and how to make it Christian and safe. But I would say there's still just ways that we don't trust it. That I'm
mm,
like, there isn't even really enough. Like image generation would be a good example of like, I don't know how you could not do that. And then even ChatGPT, they were thinking about erotica, allowing erotica conversations, which is like sexting with
Yeah.
ChatGPT. They actually decided against that, which I think is best. But I'm like,
Yeah.
guys, 900 million weekly active users are on a chatbot that was thinking about allowing everyone to sext it. Like that's, and we're just like, it's cool, no big deal, it's fine. And I'm like, I
And they're
think that's a
probably,
bigger deal than we realize. So,
well, and if that AI is not going to allow it, somebody is, right? I mean, there's
oh, well, that's
probably,
the problem is they actually, that's where image generation 20% is inappropriate. And people are like, no, I make memes on ChatGPT. I'm like, that's great. Other people are using those technologies and that capability to make crazy things. And 95% of deepfake videos are pornographic. So it's like,
mm,
guys, the technologies of image generation and video generation are incredibly dangerous and being used for evil a lot. And so I
yeah.
think that's where it's like, man, we don't even realize since 2022, it's like 400 or 500% increase in photo pornography. And so it's like, as if there wasn't enough in the world,
Mm,
it's only gone up 400% in 4 years. Like
mm.
but I mean, we're just going about our days, and I don't hear about this stuff all the time. I don't hear about it unless I'm looking for it, and it's my
Right.
job to look for it and figure this stuff out. And it's part of what fueled our fire of like, oh,
Mm.
there's
Well,
something
and gross
here,
things hide
and
in the dark. It's like,
totally,
of
yeah,
course, it's
and
not
they're
just going to be.
totally and Grok, like, I mean, anyone can think whatever they want about Elon. Grok is terrible at
I haven't used that one
image
yet.
generation and undressing women on Twitter, and it's absolutely
Whoa.
awful. And and I'm like, we have SpaceX in our backyard, and I love SpaceX. I like some of the like, I like Tesla. I'm like borderline an Elon fan, and I would say I think Grok is awful, like genuinely. And
Mm.
so, and people go, "What do you mean? I love it." And I'm like, but it literally made child porn for like over a week. And there were
Wow.
countries,
I
like
didn't know
Muslim
that.
countries, that didn't allow Grok to be in their country. And I'm like, and in America, people were just like upset. I'm like, there are literally countries that don't even
Whoa.
agree with, like, they have completely different worldviews and they're saying it's bad. And we're over here just like, nobody even knows about it. And so it's that kind of stuff that I think we just don't hear about. You're right. It hides in
Yeah.
the dark, grows in the dark. I mean, and then those technologies are really you're able to utilize those technologies to build websites of all
Yeah.
sorts of who knows what. And so people leverage those technologies for bad all the time. So
Well, let me ask you this. So, I was on TikTok the other day,
mhm.
and there's like these accounts that will grab my attention. Like I'm really into fitness and stuff like that. And I see this like trend where it'll be maybe an older person that's maybe in their 70s that are like out of shape, and then now they're in shape, and but they're AI accounts. They're fake, like fake transformations. And
Totally.
but the scary part about them is that what I didn't know they were doing was I saw this girl comment. She's like, "Hey, that's weird. That's me." It was her body with the face of the older person, but the transformed older person. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, how do we what can light do in regards to that kind of thing? Like, how are people making these? First of all,
Yeah. I would just say, well, what could Christians do? And it's that you shouldn't put your images into AI in that way because everyone's kind of trusting when you throw all your friends' faces on top of a horse and you're making this like album cover for fun with this funny thing for the bachelorette party or the bachelor party, and then all of a sudden like you just put all of your friends like names, faces, name, image, and likeness into AI, and you're just feeding it. They're using that to train their algorithms on the way humans look. And I've actually had some influencers that have told me that they have almost signed contracts with companies, and part of the contract was that they were selling their name, image, and likeness, and even their kids, so that it could be reproduced online in AI. Like uh, this country or this contract said that the company could use their name, image, and likeness in AI whenever they want, and they
Mm.
like caught it on the in the
Like fine
contract,
print.
and they didn't sign it. Yeah, they like caught it in the fine print, and they've like had to hire lawyers and all these things because, and I don't know if you've seen this Taylor Swift stuff where she's trying to she just tried to trademark herself and her voice, and like she's trying to protect herself from this.
I saw that.
And so I actually think we're like super at the beginning of this where people are going to start going, wait, that's me, or hey, that, and it's like, I mean, who knows how it will work out. I can't tell where we'll go, but I think there's probably a dangerous frontier,
Mm.
especially as it gets better and looks more like humans. Like we're not going to be able to tell that it's fake. And then I think
No.
it's going to be the Wild West when it comes to like using photos that are just on the internet. And
Well,
so,
I have to go back through my whole TikTok because they auto put this feature in now, and you can't go and just toggle this off. You have to do it individually, where um, it says something like this video is available for AI remixing. I can't remember exactly the words, but
oh,
you
interesting.
have to, and what they did to you, you have to go into each video and manually turn it off. You can't just go to your settings and mass turn it off. You have to, and for somebody like me, who I've been on TikTok, since 2020, I have tons of videos on there. So I
Yeah,
have
it's
to,
so hard to
I'm
go
like, when am I going
individually.
to
Yeah,
do this? I'm going to have to go through and individually toggle every single one off. Cause I'm
weird.
like, how did you get away with that? I don't, they just, oh, there we go. Now all of your stuff is available to be remixed by AI, whatever that means exactly, but
Totally.
super
Yeah, but
strange.
you also sound like a crazy person if you're like, I won't post my kids' faces on the internet, and I won't put my own face. Like, I'm like, oh, will I not post an Instagram? And like, and that is what's working right now is like when you make content, being a human and not being perfect and stuttering a little bit and being
Right.
transparent. Like, it's like the humans are going to be who like stand out in the humans with other humans because that's pretty hard to recreate in photos and videos a lot of times. And but it's also weird to be like, wait, but are they going to use that? Like, are we just going to totally stay away from social media and AI and images? But that's kind of how like people connect with people right now. It's just a weird place to be in.
I know it
I'm
is.
just
It
like
is. And
thinking out loud with you where I'm like, wow, we are going to be, it's going to be interesting where we'll be in 5 and 10 years with our kids kind of deal.
yeah,
So,
I know. And to your point, like, I always pray about, I'm like, Lord, am I supposed to show my kids' faces online? Am I not supposed to? And I've
totally.
kind of landed on, I'm not going to use them as content, but if they're in my
Yeah.
videos, I don't want to live in fear either,
Yeah.
And so that's everybody's own personal conviction and
Totally.
what they want to do, but it is just a crazy world. Okay, so we kind of touched on this, but if somebody wanted to put in any sort of like parameters for themselves on any sort of AI, what would you recommend they tell it?
Yeah. Um, it's a great question. It kind of depends on what they're going to use it for, but I do think some general like, hey, I want you to always answer with a biblical worldview. I'm a Christian. I want you to point me to uh, God's people, prayer, uh, scripture, and and then like whatever resources you love. Like I would genuinely be like, even for business questions, answer with John Mark Comer's thinking and answer with Tim Keller's thoughts on marriage and answer like I would genuinely think about what are the resources that help shape you and your views, and then or like for a Bible commentary, like I love the Bible knowledge commentary is a tool that I used all the time when I was in ministry, and I'm like, man, just give me answers that and even cite the sources. Use Bible knowledge commentary as much as you can, or use this, pastor's sermons and quotes, Matt Chandler. I love Matt Chandler. I love Jonathan Pokluda. I love JP. Give me his thoughts on dating, like all the things. Like I actually I would throw all of that in there. And I genuinely think you would have like a pretty, you'd probably be surprised at how good the output would be.
Mm.
And I would say, just be careful, because then you're going to get an advertisement for a book. You're going to, like, if you have a free chat GPT account, they're taking that data and they're using it against you, and they're going to sell you the next book that they think you might click on. It's becoming social media.
Oh,
It's becoming
interesting.
this thing where they're using your movements and the way you talk and what you're talking to it about and what you're putting into it. And they're like the free chat GPT, like I used it the other day for something really quick. I don't use it anymore. And I use it for something really quick. And a HubSpot ad came on for like our business, because I think it was a business email. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Like it just thinks I need a business thing. Like it's trying to give me a new HubSpot plan. And so it like ran an ad, and it does the same. I have a buddy
What do
who's a
you
youth
mean? I
pastor.
haven't had that happen. It
Oh,
ran an
really?
ad. Yeah, I have yet to
Do
have
you have
that
the free
experience.
version?
No, I pay. Is that why?
Yeah, yeah. So paid users don't have it right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, only
So,
for
but
free.
only for
And
free.
yeah. But it's like, oh, well, when do the paid users get ads potentially? Like there's some level of
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah.
wait, are those links and sources that they're putting in there, are they getting compensated for what they're putting in there? Or is that determining the output? They're saying it's not, but this is also a business that's not profitable, that needs to show profitability and has investors, and is,
Mm.
it's an interesting, it will be interesting to see where ChatGPT specifically ends up in the next few years.
Mm.
So yeah.
Where do you think the church should be thinking critically about this? Because this is like happening so fast. I feel like AI is just
Yeah,
getting better and better, and it's just kind of exploding, like you were saying. Like even yours is going to be better in a couple of weeks. Like,
totally.
what can the church be practically doing right now to try to, lead the charge or get ahead as much as they can?
Yeah. Well, I would say pastors should be talking about AI. Every pastor, only 12% of pastors feel confident talking about AI, which is crazy. We feel confident, like I'm still in college ministry, we feel confident talking about alcoholism. And I am, I'm not an alcoholic. Why do
Mm.
I feel confident talking about alcohol? Because I have the scriptures, and yes, I have experience in my friendships and family experience with alcohol and all these different things. I'm going to put it together and I'm going to teach on, I can talk about alcohol confidently. And the same thing with social media. We don't understand social media, but we're like, yeah, we can understand how to talk about screen time and how to talk about, using it for good and not letting it form you, making sure who we follow is helping us be made in more into the image of Christ, all these things. And yet when it comes to AI, it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't even know where to start. And so I think first, the church, God's people and pastors just need to start talking about it. And a lot of the principles from social media can be taken into AI. A lot of the like it's forming you can be taken into AI.
Now,
A lot of the screen
do you think
time.
that pastors don't talk about it because it might, in their mind, it goes over their head? They're like, oh, AI, this is futuristic. I don't really understand it. It's too technical. Like, would you encourage them? Well, if you don't understand it, just start using it so you understand it. Like,
Yeah,
what would your encouragement be?
yeah, I think using it, trying it. What I would do is I'd find people in your church that use it and have lunch and listen, and then talk about it. Talk
Mm.
about what you learned. And I genuinely don't know why they don't talk about it. Um, but I think it's a little bit of a like, it's moving so fast. And my genuine thought on why the pastors don't talk about it is because they get a lot of emails after they talk about it. There's
Mhm.
so many opinions on AI in the church. You have AI is evil, it's the Antichrist, and you have AI is going to take, take over the world. We're all going to lose our jobs. I hate it. And then you have like me, who's like, I know missionaries that translated the Bible to unreached people groups faster than ever before,
Mm.
and AI is being used for good and ministry. You guys catch up. It's like you have all these different views, and whenever you talk about something, you just invite, you know, people throwing grenades at you. And so
Yeah.
I think I think that's why pastors don't talk about it is you experience the backlash and it's moving fast. And so
Yeah.
I think they should talk about it. They don't have to feel like an expert. People just need to be warned that it is forming people. Um, they need to be encouraged that it's a tool, but if it's not used as a tool, it's inappropriate. Like there's people that are treating it as a companion, treating it as a counselor, as their community, and that's not a
Mm.
tool. That
Mm.
that would be against what Scripture would say a use of the Bible is. And so, that's what we have God's people for. That's literally the role of the church.
Right.
Scriptures make it clear that's the role of the church. So I think we don't confess our sins to AI. Like I think there's like, hey, it's a tool. It
Mm.
can help you write that email. And also there's inappropriate use cases, talk through those
Mm.
inappropriate use cases. And then I would just say, um, and then I think genuinely job displacement needs to be approached from a perspective of, hey, we are not meant to fear. We have nothing to fear, um, in the sense of God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And so it's like, man, we don't have to be fearful of job displacement, but yes, we should be thoughtful as believers, especially as believers that have businesses, not to replace people, but to help people leverage AI to add more value, to optimize some of their work, and but not completely replace people. Like we understand image bearers, and God being giving us as stewards to steward what He's entrusted to us. Like we're trying to help people steward what has been entrusted to them and employ people and cultivate that. And so I
Yeah.
just think some of that needs to be spoke into, and I think it's hard in a 30-minute
Yeah.
sermon to hit it all because there's so many
For
different
sure.
things that it hits. And so I'm talking to we were talking to Barna the other day at a conference about potentially trying to make more resources for pastors to feel confident to step into this space and get to talk about some of this stuff. So
I think that's a great idea. And especially
working on
it'd
it.
be great in like with youth pastors too, because like
Oh,
you said,
totally.
the Gen Z or whoever, they're relying on it as a companion.
Totally.
How will you try to prevent that happening even with Ask LYTE? Because that has the potential, right, for someone to still treat it. Is there something that you can do for when they ask a question or something like that, that it almost points it back to the person or back to Christ or the local church?
Yeah.
How does that work?
So that already happens at like a small level. Like, hey, that you should talk to somebody about that. You should talk to a pastor. You should talk to your community. You should pray. You should spend time in these scriptures. Go. Um, and then we don't remember people. A huge part of the benefit of AI is it knows you so well. It knows me better than I know myself. That's part of the magic, and that's part of the danger. And so today we don't keep context, and that protects us today. I think there's a day where we need to be able to kind of trigger the signals of, hey, you're treating this as a companion, and we aren't meant to be that, and we aren't seeking to be that for you. So we're gonna like lock you out, or something like that. I think that's further down the line, but today we solve that by not remembering your context and not keeping your context, and you kind of just like different threads can remember the thread, but we're not going to know, you know, what you had for dinner because your recipe, and who you're in conflict at work, and then what LinkedIn posts you're writing with AI. Like we're not putting together your entire life and
Got it.
remembering you and trying to connect the dots for you where it's like, that reminds me of that thing the other day of the quote you said, and from this thing, this is a great idea. It's like there's none of those magical moments, which is hard because that's why people pay for it. That's why
Mm-hmm.
people love AI. And I think we're trying to just discern, how do we prevent companionship? And part of it's talking about it. There are some Christian apps that claim to be their spiritual companion. And I think I would say, man, I don't know if we should call it that. I don't know if that's
Mm.
wise. Uh,
Yeah, true.
so, but some people would say, well, that's what yours is. And I'm like, I don't want it to be that. We would never want that. We want
Yeah.
it to be like a resource or a blog or a tool that they use when they're confused, when they're reading Joshua 22 and they're confused what's going on. And it's like, oh, here's the context. So you're less
Mm.
confused. And you're like, oh, okay,
Yes.
helpful. So,
Right.
um,
So then if somebody wanted to download Ask LYTE, what are like, give me, because that to me, actually, that's an advantage. If that's the kind of thing you want, like to me, I heard that and heard advantage. Some people might hear that as a disadvantage. I heard it as an advantage.
totally.
But what are like your top advantages? Like why would somebody use yours?
Yeah. I mean, it's that we don't have image generation. It's that we don't keep context. It's like the anti-AI, where it's like, hey, experience the benefits of AI without the thorns. Experience the
Mm.
fruits without the thorns. Our entire app is really like a filter in that sense. And it doesn't make sense until I sit down with a parent and I tell them, hey, have you seen what your kid's asking to ChatGPT? And they're like, actually, yes.
Mm.
The other day, my 16-year-old grabbed ChatGPT and was asking it personal questions. And I didn't like the way they were doing that. And I'm like,
Mm.
that's why Light exists. And they're like, I'm going to download it right now. It's like, it's
Wow.
this weird, like,
Yes.
people are like, wait, it's all these things it doesn't have. And then once they put it into the context of like experiencing it with their children or better understanding, like I have friends that have created images like harmless and ChatGPT gave them a harmful image like of their friend and took off their shirt and you're like whoa, this is my coworker, this was supposed to be a funny meme, and they're like, we do
Oh,
need light, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even imagine that
yeah.
you know that's happened twice. I've been in two different partner
Wow.
meetings where people have been like, actually, we can see how image generation can be a challenge. Like, I've never used it inappropriately and it's given me an inappropriate image before. And I'm like,
Wow.
what? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just reading the stats and have my own experience. Like, this is amazing that like I'm not crazy. So
Yeah.
that's why light. Those are the advantages of light. Also, data privacy. Excuse me. Data privacy, and then Bible theology uh, expertise and help. So those are the
Yeah.
advantages.
Well, I've been using it myself, just to try it out and to understand it,
Come
and
on.
I've been enjoying it so far. I actually used the daily light yesterday, and
Yeah.
I liked how it gave me an action step too. Like when you
Yeah.
actually do it, that was
Totally.
nice. So,
Yeah, I think a
um,
lot of apps try to keep you on it and like endlessly scroll. And part of our vision was like, hey, let's send people out. We want you to be the light of the world. You're meant to stand out, not blend in. So that's what the daily light is for, is like a little bit of a moment of like, hey, a centering moment, just like a liturgy, if you will, and then like a challenge. Because I love a challenge. I love a like, don't eat lunch today, pray. I'm like, I'm in. Okay. Like, share the gospel today. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, that's good. Let's do it. Let's all do it.
yeah, yeah,
I love that. And so that's part of it. And we were inspired by the Bible app, verse of the day. We didn't want to do the same thing, but we do love a good challenge. So I'm glad you
for
you did it.
sure.
That's so fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I feel very connected to this because I feel very similarly about social media and how,
Yeah,
for me, I'm like, man, how can we do it differently as Christ followers? There's got to be a way. And all I've ever heard are just like talks here and there. And I'm like, but where is it
yeah.
all in one place? Like, how do we do this? And so I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, I feel like this is like what I'm doing, but for
But in the
AI.
AI
It felt,
space, totally.
yeah. So how can people best support you and support Light? And, what do you want them to know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, download it, test it, give us feedback. We want to make it better. We want to make it, um, yeah, just a really meaningful tool for people to be able to use. And um, so, yeah, download it, give us a review, email us feedback, tag us on Instagram, follow us on Instagram. And then I just think like spread the word. I think I would say we're just still at the beginning where we're
Mm.
we're realizing this could really be a meaningful tool for the church. Like we had our first church reach out to us, and they were like, we want everyone on our staff to have this, maybe even all of our entire church to have light. And we're
Wow.
like, oh snap, we want to do that one
Wow.
day. Like we plan on, that was part of the vision. We didn't expect the church to reach out week one asking for our vision. Like that's like a
Wow.
thank you, Lord. And I
Yeah.
think it's those moments where you realize, like, I think people are longing for like an alternative they can trust,
Mm-hmm.
especially parents, especially millennials who like AI, and usually people that aren't like using them in business as a tool, but like they're curious and they want the safe space. They want to be able to trust their 16-year-old. They want their 16-year-old to understand how to interface with it, but not have to worry about it. Things like that.
Yeah.
And so that's where I, I'm all this. Just join us on this journey. Give us feedback. Share. Tell other people how you're using it. And yeah, we're excited to see where God takes this. But we really do feel like we're at the very beginning still.
And what is the Instagram account? What's
Yeah, at Ask LYTE. Yeah.
at Ask LYTE? And is it Ask like with the website similar?
Yeah, www.asklyte.ai.
All
Let
right.
me double check that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at Ask LYTE. Come on. And
Well, this has just been such a great conversation. I feel I'm walking away feeling like yeah, like I want to be on board. This is what we need, and I'm
come
just
on.
excited for what you're gonna do. I stumbled upon you guys by seeing an Instagram post, so
Come on.
I think this is just so exciting, and I just will be praying for y'all's journey, and I know those decisions that you have to make aren't easy. That comes with a lot of discernment and a lot of weight, and
Mhm.
we'll definitely be praying for you guys.
Well, we're grateful. I'm grateful for
Yeah.
you. The more we've gotten into this, the more we are starting to understand social media and influencers. And I've always had friends in it, but I've never really understood it. And I just realized, man, there's a real um, opportunity to leverage social media for good. And that is where we're like completely aligned. Is like, hey, let's use the the technologies that we have been entrusted in our lifetime to make Jesus known. And then I would just say, like, it is hard to find influencers and people on social media that like are really the real deal, and also like care about what they're showing to their people. So I'm just encouraged that you're like, I've downloaded it. I didn't just invite you on randomly. I'm like, I've used this, I've vetted this. I'm actually meeting a lot of people that share other things that they've never vetted and don't even understand that, hey, you're promoting something that isn't even owned by Christians, but they're
Mm-hmm.
paying you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
guys, what, you didn't do your research? Like, this is on the
Mm-hmm.
internet. This is on a simple Google search. And they're like, we had no idea. I have a 6-month contract. And I'm like, no, that's
Mm.
like one of the bad guys in my mind. I'm like, what? Why didn't you
Wow.
consult a friend, phone a friend? I could have told
Yeah.
you this. And so I'm just encouraged by
Yeah.
you and doing this and using and leveraging social media for good. I love it.
Thank you so much for listening. To follow along with us and to hear about other things that we're doing, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube.